Well, now that President Trump is vowing full transparency, Americans are demanding answers to all of those chemtrails across our skies. RFK Jr.'s former running mate, Nicole Shanahan, just posted this on social media. Watch.
I was taking the weekend off the internet. I've been surfing this morning and was watching the planes flying overhead, and then I couldn't take it anymore. But that is not a contrail. That looked like it started as a contrail maybe, and now it's turning into a cloud. See how thick that is? You can see this one, it's a little further behind, and this one's a little bit further behind as well. This one is the one that's been up there longest. This shit has to end. This is ridiculous. It's like an otherwise perfect day.
This has to end, she says. Dane Wigington is the lead researcher and administrator for the website Geoengineeringwatch.org. He's executive producer for the groundbreaking climate engineering documentary called The Dimming. I encourage all of you to watch that film. Dane has devoted the last 20 years of his life to constant research on the issue of covert global climate engineering operations, and he joins us now. Dane, welcome back to the show. Great to see you. First of all, I just want to get your sense of where things sit right now. This has been a lifelong fight for you to get answers about this. You've pointed out that these are toxic chemicals being sprayed. You have the film footage of these planes spraying these chemicals into the sky. It's in your documentary. Are you hoping that you were going to see some answers here under this Trump administration?
I was not holding my breath. And thank you, Clayton and Natali, for your continued attention to this extremely dire issue that the vast majority still have no idea the gravity of. In regard to Nicole, I did interview with her, a 1-hour interview about 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping that gets posted soon. I'm very grateful to her for her attention on this issue. What have we seen since January 20th? We saw on January 21st, the most aggressive chemical ice nucleation cloud seeding operations we've seen to date. That was the blizzards in New Orleans, Florida, parts of Texas, along the Gulf Coast. At the same time, there were blizzards there along the U.S. Gulf Coast. We had above freezing temperatures and rain in Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, Siberia, Moscow. Nobody reports on that. So these events, again, blizzards on the Gulf Coast with moisture from the record-warm Gulf of Mexico, this is not nature. It's chemical ice nucleation, cloud seeding. It's engineered winter. And these are patented processes, Clayton and Natali. It's not nature.
Wow. Can you just break down what she means? What's a contrail versus a chemtrail? Are they the same thing, or is this vernacular?
No, they're not. What we see is a sprayed particulate dispersion. We're not guessing. Geoengineeringwatch.org in our groundbreaking documentary, The Dimming, over 25 million views on YouTube in spite of draconian social media censorship. We took a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration flying lab, the top scientists in it, to altitude, sampled what heavy aircraft were emitting, processed that sample at Rensselaer Polytechnic in New York. That's a world-renowned lab, found exactly what we knew we would find, climate engineering elements starting with aluminum. Again, this is a sprayed particulate dispersion. We have up-close photographs of these aircrafts at geoengineeringwatch.org. Nozzles visible, turning dispersions on and off. We have up-close photographs of the retrofit nozzles mounted on the wing pylons aimed at the exhaust jet stream to make this look like, quote, condensation. So, no, we are not seeing condensation. It's a sprayed particulate dispersion. We have film footage of it. End of argument.
I mean, Dane, you've been doing it.
Contrails. She's talking condensation, that would otherwise be natural. She says this is not natural. I get it now. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Go ahead. Okay.
So where are we then with this? I mean, we have so many people in our chat room that are just sick of this. They're sick of looking up into their skies. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, Dane. You've devoted your life to this. They're sick of seeing this. We have so many viewers who've written to us saying how sick they've become as a result of it. Can you talk about what sort of effect this is having on human beings? What this effect is having on our bodies? And then who the hell is doing this?
It's affecting virtually every living thing. Primary element in climate engineering operations and patents, aluminum nanoparticles. Bioavailable aluminum is toxic to all life forms, period. No exceptions. We are all sucking this stuff in with every breath we take. Clayton and Natali, do you remember all the reports of and it's ongoing, in fact, the fog and people getting sick in the fog? You guys probably saw that.
Yes. Yeah. In Pennsylvania during the atomic bomb, or even further? Or you're talking about recently?
Oh, this is right now. This is in recent months. I mean, we have extraordinary amounts of fog blanketing 10, 12 states at a time. Again, this is a result of chemical ice nucleation operations as well, because when you're creating a cold, dense, chemically induced layer of air at the surface, you're going to expand any kind of fog layer that's there, and that's exactly what's happening. It isn't just fog in this fog, and people are getting sick, and that's not their imagination. Again, we're testing precipitation, so we know that we have aluminum, barium, strontium, manganese, polymer fibers, surfactants, graphene. All of that is in our rain, which means it's in our breathable air column. Those are all climate engineering elements. And Clayton and Natali, have you seen how many massive 100-car pileups we have now every time there's a frozen precipitation event? You guys noted that?
I haven't been, I see, postings on X, and I haven't accounted for them, the quantity. So you're saying the quantity of these pileups has skyrocketed as a result?
Yes, as has massive hail events. Now we have hail that's baseball and softball size all the time, destroying cars, solar fields. So on this slick material, surfactants are used in this mix. They're in the patents, and the stated purpose is to keep these particles from coagulating together and descending more rapidly. Surfactants are what makes soap. So now we have what amounts to soap-soaked snow. It's unimaginably slick, and anybody who's grown up in snow knows the difference in composition in this super slick what amounts to soaked snow. So again, they're not only making the frozen precipitation, all precipitation toxic, but now there's many other dangers that come with that. And there's so much contamination in the rain, it's changing soil pH values. In our case, in Northern California, and I have the USDA baselines from the 40s, I'm not guessing, got that from a contact at USDA. So much toxic material is coming down in our rain that it has escalated soil pH values here in Northern California 10 to 12 times toward alkaline. Nothing is growing here. Soils are completely sterilized. There's no decomposition on the forest floor, and we're breathing all that.
So we have people in our chat room saying, yeah, let's see, Philly Vortex this year, coating on the cars. I have someone else from Fresno saying, Fresno used to be the breadbasket of California. No longer the case. Soils being destroyed.
Right.
So,
after watching your last bit on Redacted, I don't let my daughter eat the snow that just falls out. Like, can I eat the snow? No, you cannot. I want to ask you, if you don't mind, where would we begin if we wanted to get real answers besides your independent work? But where would we begin to get answers from the government and make this stop? Or is it because it's too many tentacles?
The only way this stops is when we reach the pitchforks and torches moment, the proverbial pitchforks and torches moment, when people realize they're literally fighting for their lives right here, right now. If we have soils that don't grow food and we have our own personal health that's deteriorating by the day, we're not going to be fighting anything for much longer. Bottom line, this will take everybody sharing credible data from a credible source. Geoengineering Watch strives to be that source. We don't say it if we can't back it up. And the bottom line, people ask why. Again, they ask why over and over. Why would they do this to themselves? Natali and Clayton, you've heard that question asked probably, right? Why would they do this to themselves?
Yeah.
Right.
So on that most important question, we need to consider what they have done to themselves already. Detonation of 2,400 plus nuclear bombs, which contaminated everything on planet Earth, including they ultimately is those who print the money. That's who's running the whole show. Political stripes are not something that can stop this. I don't care what side of the fence it's on. It's only ramping up again. In the January 21st New Orleans blizzard was evident of that. They're not going to stop these programs. And we have nuclear everything, Fukushima, triple nuclear meltdown, no technology to fix it, no end in sight. That will be an ELE extinction level event. If we can't figure out a way to stop that, we have 442 more nuke plants still online. We have 60 more being built. The proverbial those who print the money are power addicts. It's like a cancer. Does a cancer intend to kill its host? No. The cancer intends to proliferate unchecked until the host dies. And the stated purpose for these programs, so your listeners know, Natali and Clayton, is solar radiation management, stratospheric aerosol injection, cloud albedo enhancement. It's important to use the science terms when introducing this issue. The chemtrails term, if people Google that, go straight to conspiracy theory and hoax. That doesn't help our cause. Stick to solid facts. But even though they state this as some sort of benevolent way of cooling the planet, it's doing exactly the opposite. It's destroying the planet's remaining life support systems and contaminating everything in the process. And we know it's being used as a weapon because we see systematic targeting of agricultural regions, flash freeze, flash drought, flash flood. There's no question this is being used as a covert weapon of the controllers.
Wow. So many people in the chat are just saying, yeah, who is doing it? And I think you answered a big piece of this, the manipulation to darken the earth, basically, here. But yeah, who would be behind this? I mean, I heard Julian Assange say something a couple of years ago, and it stays with me, Dane. And I think as we look at the FBI and the CIA right now and who's doing this, the only way we get a change is to, as you say, pitchforks. Overthrow these people, take it over. And you would think now we have these people in Washington, D.C. We have President Trump there. We have these other groups there. We have these other individuals who are ready to throw it out. Do you think there's an appetite for them to do it, to really look this in the face?
Well, keep in mind, what we saw the day after January 20th was a radical ramp up, the most aggressive chemical ice nucleation operations we have seen to date in the United States. In fact, so much so that there is international reporting on the fact that for the entire month of January, the most anomalously less warm region in the entire world was the United States of America. These flash freeze cool downs where temperatures can drop 50 and 60 degrees in a day. That's not nature. That's a chemical cool down. These are patented processes. And again, as far as those controlling everything, Clayton and Natali, those who print the money control militaries, thus they control countries. And that's the bottom line. The last person to actually draw a line in the sand was John F. Kennedy. He didn't live long after that. So again, I think it's important we understand that we are the ones we've been waiting for. Us, all of us. All of us are needed in this battle. All of us are spokes in this wheel and needed and necessary to make it roll. If we're going to bring this issue to light and to a halt, it's going to take all of us. And I did interview with Robert Kennedy. He did a 1-hour interview on me. That's online on geoengineeringwatch.org. And we were scheduled for a second interview the day his mom died. That's unfortunate because that interview will probably never happen at this point. So it's up to us, all of us. And we supply information at geoengineeringwatch.org. We are non-political. We don't advertise or sell. And we pass on printed materials for less than our cost of producing and shipping. Our mission, my only mission, to see this insanity in our skies exposed and halted once and for all before there's nothing left of the planet's life support systems or our health.
Dane Wigington, he's doing God's work. I hope everyone goes over to geoengineeringwatch.org and check out everything that Dane has been doing with his team to expose this. Again, geoengineeringwatch.org. We'll have it linked up. Dane, thank you for jumping in on this story. We'll keep our eyes on it, and please come back anytime.
Thank you, Natali. Thank you, Clayton. I very much appreciate your voice.